Hey guys, welcome to Outdoor Podcast. Myself, Dave Thomas, tonight, along with Dan from Stan. I was working on that all day.
I've got that all the time.
Before we get started today, I just want to say a special shout out to the companies who make this show possible. XOP Gear, who's making really great tree stands and harnesses and saddles, tree climbing sticks. They got pretty much everything you need to get up in the air as a bow hunter and get it done. I want to thank Trophy Ridge to help us bring all the rest you see in this show all the time. Of course, the Whisker Biscuit, what I consider king, because we're always using it here on the show, of course. But Trophy Ridge is also giving you 20% off. If you need it, go ahead and take it. Use code BHP2025. Take 20% off on their website today. You won't be disappointed, and it'll help hook you up.
Dan, I haven't seen you in a while, and I honestly didn't know you worked for Stan. So explain to me this transition. Where did you work before? Because last time you were here, I think you were working with PSC. I don't know how to say that, but...
Yeah, so I still work with PSC. I still cover a small territory for them, but I was back in June, July last year, and Eric's like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I'm looking for someone to come and do sales and marketing for me. Gave it some time, thought about it, went up and visited him, saw the operation up there. I mean, I've known Eric for years, so it was kind of an easy go up there, have a friendly conversation, like really look at the business and be like, is this something I want to be a part of? And obviously it was. I've been shooting Stan for a long, long time, so I love the products. And then having that opportunity to take that role where we can try to like build Stan to the next step was kind of a no-brainer. So I had initially planned on leaving PSC, and then after talking to Lonnie and some of those guys out there, they're like, hey, would you be willing to stay on and take a couple states? And we talked it out and decided that it would be in everyone's best interest if I just stayed with some of the PSE stuff and went and worked for Stan as well.
Very cool. Now, so with your background with doing like target archery and stuff, this seems like it's kind of right up your alley, knowing how this stuff works so dramatically and, you know, understanding the concepts. Tell me what that's like, I guess, from your perspective. Like, is it kind of cool now to work for a release company after you've done target and all that stuff for so long and been in the industry so long, of course?
Yeah, I mean, it is nice to be able, like, we're working on products for 26, 27, stuff like that. So it's nice to be able to know the experiences I've had, experiences I've heard from other top-level shooters about what they're looking for in a release, and being able to take that knowledge and that information to Eric and say, here's what the market is wanting, here's what the market is asking for, now how do we build it?
Yeah.
You can come up with great concepts, but being able to make it where you can actually make the product, make it consistent, and make it in volumes is the tough part.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So there's been some things where it's like, hey, can we do this? He goes, yeah, but it's going to be really hard to produce. He's been able to figure some of the stuff out, but some of the things it's like, yeah, we could make a few of them, but it's not going to be a full production run of something like this.
So Dan, take me through real quick. Actually, no, hold on. Before we do this is coming. Don't worry, guys. I know we want to talk about the releases, but I do want to talk about Stan as a whole. We were talking a little bit offline here, real quickly about the history. But you guys give everybody a history lesson of Stan and what they're all about.
Yeah, so it was back in the late '60s. Mel Stanislawski, that's where the Stan name came from. Was Mel Stanislawski and some other people had this idea of a triggerless release. Something you can get where you're not able to punch the trigger. You're just kind of waiting for the release to go off as you're activating your shot. And they came up with the idea of the hinge release. So they worked together, came up with an idea, manufactured some, and then in 1970 he made it official and started Stanislawski Archery Products. So then he had some sales. I mean, it did okay. But then when he shot a 300, he was the first person to actually shoot a 300 in Vegas. That's when the Stan name and the brand kind of took off. Everyone's like, what's with this triggerless back tension release? What's with this hinge? And that's where he really started to get some traction.
That's amazing. And here we are today.
Yeah, 2025.
Many years later. Dan, what is this piece here? I've never actually seen that before.
So this is actually one of our patented features. This is a trainer lock. So as you take this out, cock your release, you can put this in here. And when you fire the release, the hook will not go off.
Wow.
So if you're, say, at a tournament where there's no warm-up, you can actually pull your bow back and go through
that is so sweet.
And not let it go off. Another great thing is with a hinge, you've heard people like scared of punching themselves in the face or something like that. You can actually take this out, put it in here, and then you can work on your settings and practice and shoot it until you get comfortable with your settings to not be afraid of.
Will you hear the click?
Yep.
With that?
So that
wow. Wow, so cool.
So yeah, that's one of our patents that we have, and all our high-end releases have that. It's actually definitely really, really beneficial on the resistance release too, because this fires off of holding weight and not a trigger.
Yep.
So
Very cool. There's that. This one doesn't matter, right? The angle, because they ain't going to fire. Okay, so I get in position.
Get your aiming done.
Aiming's good. Bring my thumb around.
Squeeze to the click. And then pull through the shot. There you go.
Boom! That one felt good, actually. That feels nice. I like that a lot.
Our sear activates on the inside is where our patent is.
You ever seen that little thing over there?
Which one?
Oh, forget it. That's something else.
Definitely.
All right, well, take us through this stuff. See what we got here.
So on the high end, we've got our Onyx series. Our Onyx series has 4 different releases to it. You've got a thumb button, a hinge, a clicker thumb button, and a resistance release. So these 2, the clicker and the thumb button, fire off actually pushing the thumb.
Okay.
This one has a click in it. You go to the click, and then you pull through the shot. Thumb button goes off like a regular thumb button. The resistance is kind of cool because, as I said, it fires off a holding weight. So someone who may have target panic or trying to learn how to actually use back tension to shoot, they can use this where this is actually your safety. You'll pull back to full draw, let up on the trigger, and then you just keep adding tension. And then once it hits past where this hook is set, it'll let go.
Okay. So you're talking about. Let me see this thing. So I want to make sure I understand this. So when we're talking about here is going to be. Let me see. How do I just flip it on? You want on that one?
Flip it on there.
Oh, I've never seen that little hook thing. Like
Yep. So
cool.
That's a hook retainer.
It's like a beak.
So as that pushes, you can leave it hang on your string when you're hunting, and it's not going to fall off.
All right. So we
hold the thumb button down.
Hold it down.
That's your safety. And I don't know where that one's set, so it may go off when you let off the thumb button.
Okay.
So once you get to full draw, you'll let up on the thumb, and then just start adding tension. So that's set pretty light.
Got me. Scary.
But yeah, so once you get it set where you're not afraid of it going off, but you don't want to be able to, where you're like really wrenching into it to make it
But
go
the
off.
concept, what I was trying to get to, and I wanted to talk to you about, because today I was going to have you show me how to actually shoot a release as well. And what I want to talk about is, so you get it back, and is the concept that you're just setting your thumb here, and then I'm just going to continue to pull through?
Well, you just whatever you need to do to let off the thumb, because as this piece moves, that's your safety. So as soon as you let up on that, that's what lets all the internals work.
Oh, okay, so this is
basically blocking everything from letting go.
Wow,
of this hook.
that is cool. That is a really interesting.
Yep.
But the process of shooting though is still pulling through.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I want. Is it the same with these type of releases as well?
Yes and no. So the thumb buttons, if you're activating them correctly, there's no one way to actually activate release, but pushing the thumb button is considered wrong.
Okay.
It can lead to target panic. It can lead to flinching or things like that. You want to have a shot that goes off where you kind of know when it's going to go off, but you don't know exactly when it's go off.
Okay.
So when you get your aiming done, and then your pin's naturally going to want to float in the middle, and then as you pull, you'll wrap your thumb around it. Same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You just start pulling and adding pressure to it. And you can add pressure by either letting your hand relax or squeezing, because if you notice how that thumb kind of moves in. So as you start adding tension and squeezing, it pushes the thumb barrel into your thumb. So you're not actually pushing it to make it go off. You're using tension in the back and a hand manipulation to make it go off.
Interesting. Okay. Didn't know that. That's cool. That's a nice piece, though. Very nice machine piece right there. Yeah. Beautiful.
So all of our stuff is made in Auburn, New York. We've got a small factory there, and even like wrist straps, all our anodizing, our webbing, everything like that is all sourced here in the U.S.
Nice. Very cool. All right, so this is the top notch right here.
So this is our
what kind of price
point?
Point? What kind of price point?
So
looking at?
if you're looking at, we make everything on the high end in brass or aluminum. So you're looking anywhere between $339 on the high end on the brass for a clicker, down to $299 for like an aluminum style release.
Okay, and brass is more expensive generally.
Yeah, brass is probably about 30% more expensive just in raw material. So obviously translates to the sale price on how much it's going to be. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I just noticed, I've noticed this a long time ago, but I was just going to ask you, is the round blue, is that like the symbol?
Yep, so that's always been part of the Stanislavski name, was that blue symbol in the middle of the A is always, it's kind of like their trademark. So Eric kept that. When he shortened the name to Stan, he still kept that blue dot there.
I really like this concept you guys did here. Honestly, I'd never seen it before. That's
so
cool.
When we listen to customers, it's like a lot of guys, like I hear it at trade shows, like it's nice being able just to cock it and then hook it on the release. But then when you run into is if there's nothing to hold the string in there, you can't hang your release on your D-loop if you want to leave it there. So Eric came up with that spring retainer where it just kind of pushes out of the way when you put it on your D-loop.
What does it mean to be unrivaled? To be unrivaled isn't about winning a trophy. It's about putting in the hours that nobody else sees. To be unrivaled isn't just a choice, it's a lifestyle. It's to push yourself to be your best day in and day out. Cast bowstrings. Be unrivaled.
Personally, for you, I'm assuming you use one of these for bow hunting, or do you use a wrist strap?
I actually going to use this one, the Axis.
So mix. Yeah.
So it's still a. We don't make anything that's cheap, but this is what's going to be considered our entry level thumb button. So it's a little bit more resistant to dirt and stuff that may get into it. It's a little bit simpler system on the inside. There's no cocking bar on the back like we have on these. The cocking bar is actually the thumb barrel, so you push that down and that resets all the internals. And then the big thing is having it on the wrist strap, because that's always dropping releases off a D-loop out of a tree.
Happened to me.
Yep. So having it attached to you all the time is kind of nice. And then the way we've done the attachment here is you can either use this as non-weight bearing, where it's just attached to your wrist, or like say you have hand issues or something like that, or it's super cold, you can shorten that up where it'll actually load onto the wrist, where you can pull it back before you put your hand on it.
Nice. Yeah, that was the first time I remember that hunt, because I was on state land. And the first time I ever tried to use a handle, I had put it on there somehow. I don't know what brand it was, and then at some point I dropped it, right? And I'm like, no way. And then I didn't have a backup because I wasn't prepared. So I had to climb down at like 8 in the morning, right at prime time in the morning. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But I'm like, what am I going to do? I ain't going to use my fingers. There was no way. So, I mean, that I remember that feeling, but that would be perfect for that solution, and or even this piece, because that can't really allow it to fall off, which is nice.
Yeah. So yeah, this is our Axis. So that's retails at $199. So it's not
bad.
It's not cheap, but it's a little bit more palatable for someone who may not have $300 to spend on a release. And you can get this thing to feel almost as good as these. It doesn't quite get there, but it's pretty dang close.
So and I understand that these can be used any way, shape, or form the consumer really wants to, but technically, I'm assuming these are geared towards target shooters.
You're gonna, guys hunt with them, but yeah,
we're talking most likely
your high end Ferrari type.
Got it. Okay, and then that one would be the low end of the high end.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And
so that's entry level of the thumb releases, and then we get into the Solex. So we started with this one, the regular Solex, I think 3 years ago, and then in that time we had started working with Joel Turner of Shot IQ, who he's done a lot of work. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Bodie Turner's kids. Won Vegas now 2 times. He's worked with a lot of really, really high-end shooters, but he develops mental processes for people, so when they're under pressure, they can make things work. That's where that clicker, where that first came from, was he came up with that concept, took it to Eric. Eric designed it, and then they started going from there. So we had the regular Solex for about 3 years. Great little crisp release, and then it's like, well, why don't we put a clicker in that? It's you're making a conscious decision to do something.
Okay.
You're making the conscious decision, get back and aim, put it in the middle. All right? Get to the click, pull. So then we put a clicker in it this year, and it's just blown up.
Nice.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like the look of that one. The trigger's cool, too.
Yeah, so we've got that in a web connect and a solid connector, too. So depending on what flavor you like, whether you like to have it solid, or I personally like the web connect, because then I can just take it and tuck it up in my sleeve when I don't need it.
So, and as far as that one goes, what's the price point of this one?
So a regular Solex with the web connects, $199, and then a clicker of the CM is $139.
Okay.
And then there's just little jump, so it's $99, $119, and then $119 for the clicker version with the web, and then $139 for the CM version.
That's affordable. That's definitely, that's nice. Wow.
And it's got all the same high-end trigger suspension system, so there's no wobble on it side to side. You'll lose some accuracy if you've got any wiggle side to side on the trigger. You can lose some accuracy. So we put our trigger suspension system in it, so make sure everything stays perfectly in line, no dragging. It's got independent trigger travel and tension adjustment. So you've got your travel adjustment on top, and then your tension setting on the side. And cool thing with all of our tension settings or travel settings, other than the clicker, because the clicker had to have a different piece in it to make the click work, everything is run off an off-center cam pin. So that pin, it's not a screw like you typically see on like a travel setting. It's a pin that's off-center. So as you screw it, the piece comes out, and then once you get past the high end, it goes back down again. So
holy cow.
Say if you turn it 1/8 of a turn, it would be the same as turning like a typical 832 thread that's on most travel settings, a 16th. So you're much more precise on where your travel setting is with that off-center cam pin.
Interesting. Let's talk about the motion here. So is this like a patented thing? Is that why you can't just, like some of the other ones, click different ways?
There are
like one goes right, one goes back.
Yeah, there are some patents.
I would assume, right?
It's mainly around how that piece folds back and stays back.
Yeah, okay.
So
makes sense. I was just curious because I knew there had to be something because it doesn't make sense to me. Like yours goes this, other ones go this way and clicks like two positions. One goes back and clicks in a position, and I think another one I felt went back, but a whole different type of system right here that looked like a bigger. I like the way this looks though. It looks real clean to me. Beautiful. Yeah. Strap feels good too. You said this American made strap?
Yep.
Wow. That's probably rare.
Snow River, I think, is who makes that for us.
Yeah, that's really nice. So is this so what's your top sellers, I guess, from your perspective?
Top sellers this year obviously has been the Solex clicker since that was new. This thing, like, we can't keep up on making these things. It's with the help of Joel and his education process. People are starting to realize, it's like everyone's like, oh, click's going to make me jump. It's like, no, you use the click as part of the process. And once you get that process down, it'll make you a way better shooter than what you were before. So that's probably number one. Number two is probably going to be between the clicker button and the regular thumb button. One of these two.
Yeah, that's cool.
So and then on the handhelds, we make everything from small all the way up to double extra large.
Wow. Okay.
So we've got handle sizes that'll fit everybody, and we made on our website. You can print out a sheet that's got all the different handle sizes on it, so you can cut them out and like compare to what you have to figure out which size you need.
So let's talk about the hard stuff, the marketing. It's my favorite topic. So with stuff like this, okay, and we talk about, in the industry, you've been in this industry a long time, and I guess my question is, so when it comes to the target market, very specifically target shooting, the obviously the tournaments, right? Is it really hard to get an alignment of shooters because you have to pay them type thing? Like, is it hard to get, you know what I mean? Like, without like using all your funding, right, for one guy. It seems like, and I guess I'm asking this because you know that whole circuit, so like what I need to do or how I'm going to get into this. So how do you approach it, I guess? Because it just seems so complicated to me, like with so many shooters.
On the shooter side, it's hard because when you're competing with some, like, we're a very, very small company when it comes to like what we can spend on marketing and things like that. So it's a lot of like, I've used my connections of friends saying, hey, would you be willing to try this? Would you be willing to do this? We're not at the place where we can pay a bunch of shooters a bunch of money to shoot them to get on the podium. So it's all real grassroots, a lot of relationship building with people. I know a lot of the guys I got shoot them now is just because like, hey, would you be willing to try this, see if it helps? And most everyone that's tried them is like, man, that thing feels really, really nice. Like, I can't believe I've never shot one of those before. But when you're competing against people that are marketing really, really heavily and able to outspend you, it's kind of hard to really push and get your nose in some places.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, that's why I asked, because I feel like, when I see these, I touch these, I feel these, the feeling I get when talking to you about the Stand brand as a general is it's definitely a premium brand. It's like at the higher end here. And, being a smaller company, doing it at the high end, and you guys don't have other products, correct? It's just the releases.
Just the releases,
It's not like you have a separate income coming in for sights or quivers or bows or whatever, right?
Yep.
Broadheads, right? Some companies that are making all sorts of crap that makes money, so they might use that money to pay for that, or and then gives it a little advantage for them in those markets. Now, when you guys market towards hunters specifically, are you usually pushing like this type of stuff, or still like this?
You still got some guys that'll hunt with high end stuff. I know some of the guys out west will still hunt with like a regular thumb button. The Axis has done really, really well for tree stand guys. I mean, even out west guys, just again because it's always attached to you. If someone wants to shoot a thumb button, because worried about dropping it and losing it, there's your answer. Yeah, and actually, really nice. we do make a screw in the back here that you can put where you can put a lanyard on it, but it's not weight bearing like this one is.
Oh yeah. So this one you're pulling the whole, because this is built right into the metal.
So that one, and then these obviously will be the ones you're really focused towards most of the hunters, because I would say a vast majority of them are going to be using an index finger release just because that's what they started with.
Yeah. So Dan, how do you see this trend going on right now with Total Archery Challenge, because I feel like it's pretty big, and it's been fun. Like, I've been going to them. I know we're both going to this one coming up here. But like, what's your thoughts on it? Like, because I feel like, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and I think you'll agree, but I feel like when I first started going, it was very small. Like, there was only a couple companies. And literally, like, the next year, it went like, like every company started coming, and more companies. I felt like I don't know if this probably is not factual, but I would just say I felt like more of the major companies are coming to TAC than they were to ATA. That's the feeling I got when I go, because Matthews is there, Hoyt's there, everybody's at the TAC, and surprisingly to me, there was some a lot bigger names than I thought would be there. For instance, like some of the high end people from Matthews was at there. I was like, wow, really? Like, I didn't think he'd be here. You know what I mean? Like, so there was people there in the business part. I'm not talking shooters. I'm talking like the marketing people or high end people in those companies. Same with Easton. Like, there's just always like someone there more than I thought would be there. I'm like, wow, they're taking this pretty seriously. So I guess what's happening from your perspective in the from the business side with the TAC and with ATA? Is there anything, like, where's it going? I guess where you feel?
Yeah, I mean, TAC's been nice because you're introducing a lot of people, I think, that wouldn't be pushing themselves to like shoot further and do things, making them practice more. I mean, that's one of the big things you see working in shops. I made a bad shot on this, or someone's got really bad target panic or whatever. I mean, you're getting people that are trying to make themselves more accurate. And if they're going to go out and shoot foam animals at 100 yards, 90 yards, whatever, when it comes deer season time and they got to shoot it at 20 yards, that's chip shots, piece of cake. So that's been nice. And then the show that Sean puts on at these events is pretty phenomenal. I think that's where most of the people going to, it's like, you're going to go shoot 3D animals and go shoot some amazing courses, but just the camaraderie and the fun people have in the vendor villages is a lot of fun. And it's different than what you see at a lot of shoots. I mean, you go to any ASA. I mean, ASAs could have 2,500 people at them, and it's usually the same 2,500 people at every one. TAC, there's, was there 18 of them now?
Yeah,
and
3 here alone.
The different regions you got all over, like, you're going to get a different crowd at every single one. So as a manufacturer, you're going to see way more different people and have FaceTime with them, be able to pick up a release,
consumers,
and show them the benefits and features of all your releases, and actually get in front of someone who's probably actually going to buy something, if not there, maybe down the road. Be like, I remember I played with that release up at the TAC in Boyne, and that thing felt great, and they've got one here. You know what? I'm going to buy it.
It's funny too. I see a lot of things at TAC that I'd never seen before. Like, I was walking around a couple years ago and I saw. It was a stabilizer. Is it called Quattro, something like that? Anyway, it was like wood, and I'm like, what the heck? And this guy's showing it to me. I did a video on it for TikTok. I posted, it went like viral because like people are like, what the heck is that? There's a wood stabilizer, and it was just the coolest thing to run into and see. And I thought, man, it's crazy. Like I try to go to shops here and there just to like, pick the owner's brain, see what's going on in the industry, and what they're selling, like what's working, what's not working, just so I have an idea in my mind when I'm talking to people about, marketing, I guess, what you want to call it. But like, I never seen that before. I was like, where the hell did this thing come from? It's like magically appeared. Then sure enough, you go online, you find their thing. I'm like, what the heck? This guy must have ordered this online because I haven't seen this in a dealer around here or a pro shop, But there's just so many interesting things that I think are at those shows that you just don't expect to see, It's kind of, and, like you were saying, the camaraderie is unbelievable at those shows. I feel like I always tell the guys, like, because I always wanted to get a booth there because you're allowed to do single booths per state, and I thought, man, we got to get a booth there eventually, and we kind of like him and haw about it because it's a lot of work, you got to put someone's got to sit there all day. We're not, I mean, what are we going to sell hats? It's not like we sell things, so I'm like, but, the concept there is like, so it's like, these are our people, I guess is my point. Like, this is like the crowd, especially for hunting. This is like the crowd. Most of these people are hunters in Michigan. They're right here, or Pennsylvania. It doesn't matter which state, but I'm just saying, like, those are the people that are actually using these products. And, when you walk around and you see the bows, you see the gear on the bows, you see the dialed, you see the whatever, UVs, and you're like, okay, these guys know the industry, they're not just like a typical person. Because you could tell the difference, you're gonna walk around and see a guy with a standard bear archery bow ready to hunt package, he's just a dude likes to try bow hunt. But you see a dude in a dialed and a stand and some other stuff, you're like, this guy's serious. He knows, he's been paying attention. He knows what's going on. So, but yeah, it's just such a good experience, I think, TAC. From the beginning, I felt pretty good about that part of it. Just like seeing that, and I was like, wow, this is really something. They've really put together an awesome show. And I did talk to the owners of that show about their background, and it was very interesting because they actually have a background in doing shows like this, but not specifically archery. So I thought that was cool. I was like, wow, that's how you bring in a whole nother like how to something different, you know?
Yeah, it's that those kind of things with tack is it's more laid back too because there's not a score at the end of the day. There's not someone's going to win. You're not putting money on the line to go.
It's like golf. With your buddies.
It's just way different feeling from the crowd that's there. No one's as stressed out as they are at Vegas or any of the ASAs or anything like that. It's just it's way more laid back and a lot of fun.
So, Dan, what can we expect from Stan coming up this 25, 26 year coming up here? Fall's coming, you know.
So, yeah, we're working on the 26 line right now, so I'm pretty excited about what we got coming out. I can't say too much, but it's got some cool stuff coming.
So you did mention the lowest price release you have is how much?
$99.
Wow, okay, so that's like $100. That's sub, okay. Because at first I thought you said it was $199, and then I thought I heard you say $199.
So entry level for a thumb.
For a thumb is going to be $200.
Yep. Then you get into the index fingers.
That's awesome. Then that's
from
excellent.
$99 to $139.
Yeah, that is really cool. And can people buy these on your website too, or where do they get them?
We don't sell directly to consumers. We've got some online retailers that are on there, or their local pro shop.
Okay, cool, very cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming.
Yep,
I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time on the show. Now, Dan and I are going to go out and do some shooting. He's going to show me how to shoot and not use my target panic, which I have all the time. Which, to be honest with you, it's kind of what throws me off because sometimes I can do it perfect, and other times I get this weird target. It's so strange that target panic. It's nuts, man.
Well, I told you the only way I was going to come up here is if I could show you.
I need this. I need this intervention. All right, see you guys next time. Oh,
it's all right.
Are you ready? Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. I got it. Yeah. Get this thing out of here. Let's go.
You want to do with a trainer lock first?
Nah, fuck it. We're going in. We're going in, Dan. Okay, yep.
Okay, that's it. I've had enough.